Imagine you're building a house. You lay a foundation. You put up 4 walls, then a roof. However, one of your walls is made of poor material. Although it appears like the other 3, the wall is weak and cannot bear the weight of the roof. After a short time, the weight of the roof is too much for the poorly constructed wall, and the entire structure falls apart. In the workplace, every group decision is like building a house. Instead of foundations, walls, and roofs, we have points and counterpoints, also known as logical constructs, that help a team build a decision or plan a course of action. If the foundation, walls, or roof, or in other words, if the logical constructs that support a given decision are defective, the results of the decision will be compromised. Like our house, a decision that was seemingly well built can fall apart because of a singular supportive construct that appeared solid but was in fact deficient. Logical fallacies are a common source of deficient constructs that can compromise the decision-making and planning process. So what is a logical fallacy? A logical fallacy occurs when a person supports his or her position with misleading, flawed, or outright false argumentation. This series will explore common logical fallacies that occur in the workplace during the group decision-making and planning process. The goal of the series is to help teams identify fallacies and in doing so, foster healthy decision-making and optimal outcomes. See if you can spot the fallacy in the following fact situation. 2 coworkers, Jane and Jack, are leading a discussion among their peers to determine if their company should purchase a new software as a service product that is costly but would greatly help their department's productivity. Jane is in support of the purchase. Jack is opposed. In support of his position, Jack states,
"I just do not think our company can afford this software purchase at this time. Plus, the implementation process is at least 6 months. No one on our team can afford to dedicate that amount of time to an implementation at this point."
In response, Jane states,
"Yes, it is expensive, but right now we have 2 choices. We can either devote the time and resources necessary to implement this software, or we can remain stuck in the 1980s while our competition blows us out of the water."
Did you spot the fallacy? If you guessed the false Ab fallacy, you would be correct. The false Ab fallacy occurs when a person incorrectly states that there are only 2 possible solutions to a problem. It's either A or B, when in fact there are more possibilities than the 2 options provided. Often, one option is far superior to the other, pressuring decision makers to side with the presenter's preferred solution. In our example, Jane provided the group with only 2 options: buy the software or stay with an outdated software that puts the company at a competitive disadvantage. Since Jane's coworkers do not want to be at a disadvantage, in other words, since option B presents a very unappealing option, they may feel subtle pressure to side with Jane on option A, which is purchasing the software. However, by painting the decision as a binary 2-option choice, Jane is ignoring the reality that there are a myriad of other options available. They could shop less expensive software products, hire temporary staff to help with the implementation, look into upgrades to their existing software, or explore coding their own program. When a false Ab fallacy enters the discussion, it limits the discussion by creating the illusion that other options do not exist. So how could Jane reframe her argument in a way that opens the discussion to a broader range of options and ensures the decision is built on a solid foundation? First, Jane should start by identifying the problem in a professional manner. In other words, no references to the 1980s. Then she can present her preferred solution and a brief explanation of why she is proposing the solution. Then she may mention the other viable options while acknowledging these options are not exhaustive. Next, she should provide at least 2 other options that she has personally vetted and explain why she still believes this software is a superior choice to address the issue. Let's have Jane try again.
"We are facing a problem that our current programming is outdated, and accordingly, we are at a competitive disadvantage. I'm going to present ABC software today, which I believe could help solve this disadvantage. There are costs involved, and it would be a strain on our internal resources, but I believe the return on investment will more than justify the cost and effort needed. Today, I will also present other software products I researched, as well as a quote to get upgrades to our current system, and a quote to build our own proprietary system. As you will see, the ABC software is the best of our choices.
Now it is your turn. In our next example, Bob and Billy are debating whether to increase the number of safety observations expected on a weekly basis. Billy argues,
"Our staff is already working around the clock as is. It is not realistic to put an additional burden on them. They are already staying late, skipping lunch breaks, and running themselves until they are exhausted. How can we expect them to add more to their plates?"
To this, Bob replies,
"We can either increase the number of observations we do on a weekly basis or continue to allow more and more of our team to get hurt at work."
How could Bob reframe his position in a way that opens the discussion and ensures Bob and Billy take the best course of action for their team? Finding fallacies is all about strengthening decision-making and planning in the workplace. Build a solid rationale for your team's decision, and you will give your team the best chance for a solid outcome. So let's get building.